Good evening, and welcome to Newsfeed. Today is Tuesday, April 2nd, 2019. I'm Sierra Schmidt.
And I'm David Woodruff. We're excited to have you here watching with us tonight. Tonight, all our stories will be local to Ann Arbor.
After the active shooter scare on March 16th, a University of Michigan sorority is apologizing for its actions. AKD Phi hosted an event on the afternoon of March 16th at which several members popped balloons which were mistaken for gunshots, sending Central Campus into lockdown for several hours. The lockdown broke up a vigil on the Diag in commemoration of the victims of the mass shooting in Christchurch, New Zealand, the week prior. In a statement published by the Michigan Daily on Sunday, March 24th, AKD Phi representatives state, quote, "We are truly sorry to everyone who feared for their lives and had to experience the traumatic events of that day, especially to our fellow Muslim students and all those who were present at the New Zealand Mosque Solidarity Vigil. We also want to acknowledge our silence and delay in responding to the events," end quote. For those experiencing trauma from the events of March 16th, we encourage you to reach out to CAPS at 734-764-8312.
Last Saturday, Wolf TV Newsfeed attended the 41st annual Bronze Elegance fashion show entitled Unknown Territories. The show included models in the boldest looks, along with live entertainments, performers, and a whole lot of elegance. Newsfeed gives you an exclusive report on the event in a segment soon to come.
April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and the University Sexual Assault Prevention and Awareness Center, or SAPAC, is hosting events related to it. The SAPAC programming kicked off last weekend with ally training. Students and community members attended a 3-hour workshop at the Michigan League, with education covering, quote, healthy relationships, consent, bystander intervention, and responding to disclosures from survivors, end quote. The program was an abbreviated version of the more intensive volunteer training that SAPAC hosts at the beginning of each semester, which covers similar topics in detail. This week, SAPAC continues with the Consent Outreach and Relationship Education Volunteer Programs event in the Duderstadt Library on North Campus. From 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., SAPAC representatives will be in the Duderstadt Library with therapy dogs, food, and games, as well as confidential resources for coping with sexual trauma, consent, outreach, and relationship education. Will also host a second event, SAPAC The Diag, on Thursday, April 11th, that includes self-care resources. The confidential SAPAC 24-hour crisis line can be reached at 734-936-3333 if you are in need of assistance and wish to speak to a SAPAC representative.
Now it's time for a short break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke.
I'm Paul George, and I want you to spot a stroke fast.
F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911.
Protect the ones you love.
Spot a stroke fast.
Well, Thomas, you've got prediabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have prediabetes. Big time.
first got to the University of Michigan, I went to Festival.
I first got involved on campus through an organization called ALMA, which stands for Assisting Latinos to Maximize Achievement.
My RA in East Quad, she invited me to join the Residence Halls Association.
I first got involved on campus actually at orientation, researching when I actually did my admissions process at the University of Michigan and saw that there was something called the Michigan Learning Communities.
My friend, she was the president of Noir Fashion Show.
I actually am the founder of the organization that I'm representing.
It all really happened just because I was kind of following, well, this is cliche, but I mean, I was following my heart.
Welcome back to the show. You're watching Newsfeed. Let's continue with local news. This past week was the Ann Arbor Film Festival, the oldest avant-garde and experimental festival in North America. Known for exhibiting the early works of Andy Warhol, Gus Van Sant, Barbara Hammer, and George Lucas, the festival gives a chance for non-commercial filmmakers to show their work. From the 26th to the 31st, experimental films from across the world are submitted for the chance to win awards amounting to over $22,000. Film enthusiasts flocked to Ann Arbor to watch the hard work of thousands of submissions along the multi-day extravaganza. For the 57th Ann Arbor Film Festival, the Ken Burns Award for Best of the Festival was Maija Blayfield's Destruction and Preservation. The Tom Berman Award for Most Promising Filmmaker was Jordan Wong's Mom's Clothes, and the Kodak Cinematic Vision Award went to Vulture, directed by Philip Hoffman. Congratulations to all the winners, and thank you to all of the filmmakers for their work.
Michigan crashed out of the NCAA tournament last Thursday, falling 63-44 to the Texas Tech Red Raiders in Anaheim, California. The Wolverines put up a dismal offensive performance, scoring only 16 points in the first half, nearly the worst offensive output in a half in the history of the NCAA tournament. Ignas Brazdeikis was the lone bright spot, scoring 17 points en route to a double-double. The Wolverine defense kept them in the game initially, but Texas Tech pulled away in the second half. Superstar guard Jarrett Culver scored 22 points and secured 10 rebounds, and his excellence was supplemented by the shooting of David Moretti, who supplied 15 more points. It was an awful three-point shooting night for Michigan, who went an incredible 1 for 19 from behind the arc. Good for a 5.3% clip, easily their worst of the season. It was a tough end to a very good season for the Wolverines, who came within a game of both the regular season and conference tournament championships. Seniors Charles Matthews will lead the team through graduation, and the future of Brazdeikis is uncertain, but expect many of the same faces next year on another Michigan team that will challenge for hardware.
Human trafficking is a major problem in the state of Michigan. To address this issue, an event called Empower the Driving Change took place on Monday, April 1st of 2019. The event took place at the Mexican Town International Welcome Center in Detroit. The event's target audience is individuals involved in the trucking industry. Warning signs of human trafficking and tips on how to spot human trafficking was provided to individuals at the event. The event was presented by supplier Seg Automotive in partnership with Truckers Against Trafficking. Since Detroit has an international border, it is an area where human trafficking may occur in higher numbers than other places in the country. Rest stops are one of the areas that are considered a, quote, high activity area, end quote. Therefore, truckers have the opportunity to stop human trafficking. Truckers Against Trafficking hopes to educate trucking professionals and give them, quote, tools and best practices to identify a problem should they encounter it among their route, end quote.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back with our final segments.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream. That I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly. Just to come back in a new disguise.
and be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Welcome back to Newsfeed. Let's get into our final stories. On Tuesday, March 26th, Governor Gretchen Whitmer issued a statement regarding polyfluoroalkyl substances standards, also known as PFAS. PFAS is a chemical that has been shown to affect learning and development in children. According to the United States Environmental Protection Agency, PFAS are, quote, man-made chemicals that includes PFAS, PFOS, Genix, and many other chemicals, end quote. The EPA states that PFAS can be found in food, commercial household products, in the workplace, in our drinking water, and in living organisms. Studies have also shown that PFAS may cause an increased risk of cancer. Currently, PFAS is unregulated through the federal government. Governor Whitmer's statement explained that they do not have time to wait for the Trump administration to begin to pass regulations for PFAS. The PFAS levels in Ann Arbor have recently increased since 2016. Governor Whitmer called on the Department of Environmental Quality to create standards for the water and the chemicals in it.
During a Michigan Active Citizens Alternative Spring Break trip, students expect to simply spend their break volunteering. However, 11 University of Michigan students from a diverse set of majors, years, and backgrounds ended up falling into social advocacy. On this week's Wolverine Profile, Newsfeed's Lauren Guido sits down with 3 ASB participants as they discuss their boycott work with the internationally recognized union FLOC, or the Farm Labor Organizing Committee. Let's take a look.
3, 2, 1. Navarre Avenue.
Yep.
4, 3.
I got it.
Okay, cool.
Let's do this thing.
One of the biggest things that we most recently did was actually going into the community and fighting for our cause of participating in a national boycott against Buse e-cigarettes to improve the working conditions of tobacco farm workers.
We actually went out and did something called letter dropping, and that we went to a bunch of 7-Eleven and Circle K convenience stores to talk to their employees and managers, hopefully getting them to call corporate to stop the supply of Fuse e-cigarettes on their counters.
That's something that I've never done before, so doing it at first I was uncomfortable, but having that experience really showed me that there is a way you can make your voice heard but still be respected and respectful to the people around you.
For some reason, I just felt a certain urgency to be able to speak out and to tell people what's happening.
I'm definitely going to keep up more with the products in my life. I'm going to see what kind of work conditions farm workers have in them,
more narratives need to be told in this regard, just because there's just a lack of representation, or just there's so many misconstrued perceptions that people have about them, which definitely impacts how people see them, and it's just not fair, I would say.
I'm gonna keep a more open mind in all aspects of my life and go deeper, because I think there's more to a story than we can see on the front page, so I'm definitely gonna dig deeper.
If you want something to change, you have the power to. You may not be able to do it by yourself, but there are always resources out there that you can reach through, and it's not a bad thing to ask for help, because Flock wouldn't be Flock had it not asked for help.
LLOC! LLOC! We're here in unity! We're here in unity! B-U-S-C! B-U-S-E! Take it off the shopping! Take it off the shopping!
Well, that's all we have for you tonight. I'm David Woodruff.
And I'm Sierra Schmidt. And you've just been Newsfed.